So let's start with registering the routes then. And for this, I will go into the routes folder. There we have admin and shop, and this still sounds like a decent differentiation. And let's start with the shop related routes. Right now we got the starting page. Now we will also need a get route for /products. Because if we have a look into our navigation EJS file, this is this new link which we added. So /products. We'll also need /cart because that's another new link we have. And this will also be a get route. And I will, of course, also add controller functions, but I'll first define all the routes. So I'll also need /cart, and later I'll also need a route for the checkout process. So /checkout is already something we can also add. And obviously, you are free to edit any of these paths to your likings. Just make sure to then adjust the links you might have in your application. Now, besides visiting /products, we will also need a single product. And that will then actually contain some new logic to which I will come back. So let's stick to these general routes for now. Of course, we also need more than just the shop routes. We also got some admin routes. In the navigation, for example, we got the new admin products here. And then we'll also need a route for editing. We'll add this later. And for deleting, also something I'll add later. So for now, let's simply go to admin.js. And there I will add a new get route because I want to load a new page. And that will just be /products. Now, never forget, this is, just as the other routes, also already in a path that starts with /admin, because this is what we filter for in app.js. And of course, we'll also need a controller function for that. Okay, so this is looking good. Now, how about the controllers? Now, we can follow different approaches there. Obviously, most of the things we have are still related to products, but we also got some new routes like cart or checkout. And later, we'll also add orders, for example. So we got that. Now, these are implicitly, of course, related to products, right? We do buy products in the end. But we could also argue that semantically or from a logic perspective, they rather belong to the general shop idea. So now we might be back to actually using a shop controller and a new admin controller so that we can split our logic by these two sections. Alternatively, you could, of course, also think about using a products controller and a shop controller and have everything related to products only in the products controller and things like cart and checkout in the shop controller. But I will go for this setup. Now, that, of course, means that my two admin-related routes, get add product and post add product, should be removed from the shop.js file and go into the admin.js file. This makes more sense. I will also need my model here, though, so let's take that import and also add it here in the admin.js file. This has implications for my routes, because in the admin routes, I'm still importing the shop controller. Well, this should now become the admin controller, and therefore I should also rename it to admin controller up here and then replace it down there. And a similar thing needs to be done in the shop.js file in the routes folder. There we import the shop controller, which is good, but I should also name it shop controller then, and then of course also replace that. So this looks a bit cleaner to me. And with that, we can now also hook up our other routes. For this, of course, we first of all need to add them though. So let's start with shop.js. And there I will export a new page. And that should be my get index function here. There I want to render the index page. So I will get my middleware function here. And in there, of course, I also want to fetch some products and render a view. For now, I will therefore simply copy the logic from get products. So for now, the two pages are the same, but I will render shop index here. So using that index page view here. And even if we have the same products on there, we can of course work on the view and show a different starting text there for the starting page, anything like that. Okay, so now we got get index and get products. And if we go to the routes file, this means that for /anything, I actually want to load the get index function here in my controller because that is the starting page. And it's for /products that I want to load get products instead. We also need to load the cart and checkout pages, and therefore let's go back to the shop controller, and there we got get index and get products. I will export something new, and that will be get cart. And there again, request, response, next is what I have here. And I will render a new view here, and that view will be shop/cart, pointing at the cart EJS file in the shop folder. And I will pass some data to it. For example, I need to set the path to /cart. By the way, for product list here, I also need to set it to /products, because that is the path we're checking for in the navigation. We can also change the title here, maybe to all products, and on the starting page, I leave it at shop. I pass the products to both views. I don't really need that code anymore. That is a relic we have from the handlebars times. We don't need that, so we can remove that. Now for the cart view, I will therefore also add a page title, and there I will simply say your cart. And that is it for now. Later we'll also add or load the cart items, but let's not focus on that for the moment. Last but not least, let's load the checkout page with get checkout. And there we have a request, a response, and next. And here I then also render a view. The view here is shop checkout. And then we need to pass some data where I set the path to /checkout and where I also set the page title to checkout, so that all our views get the data they should need. Now that's looking good. Let's go back to the shop.js file in the routes folder then. And there we can use these new routes. For the cart route, we can use shop controller get cart. And for checkout, we can use shop controller get checkout, the two new controller functions we created. Now we're almost done with the controllers and the routes, at least the basic setup. Let's now go to admin.js, and there we also have one route, products. So let's go to the admin.js in the controllers folder, and there I will add a new route. Exports get products is my normal middleware function. And here I basically want to do the same as I do in get products in the shop. Here I simply want to fetch all products and then render my view. So I will copy that code, go to admin.js and put that into this route. Fetch all products, but of course then render a different view. I want to render admin/products. So this view here should be rendered. I will also name it admin products, and the path will be /admin/products to mark that correctly in the navigation. With all that set up, if we go back and reload, we see a white page, which is a good sign because it's not an error. And we do see a white page because actually for /nothing, which is the route I'm on here, we load or we execute get index in the shop controller, and this actually yields us shop index, which happens to be an empty EJS view. So therefore we see an empty page. Makes sense. Let's take the code from product list EJS and copy it into index EJS. And if we leave it as it is and we reload, we now see shop, we see the products. The same is the case for the products page because they share the same code for now. Cart is empty again, and therefore we should add some content there too. At least we should include the head and the navigation so that we see something. So let's go to cart EJS and add that include of the head. We don't need product CSS here for now. We got the body start and then we got the navigation. And then let's simply also add end EJS so that we have a valid HTML document. With that added, if I reload this route here, we also see cart with nothing on. Add product should still work, and admin products won't work. Let's copy the code from cart EJS and let's head over to products in the admin folder, in the views folder, paste it in there so that we at least see that. And therefore, if I now click on admin products, it looks like it tries to render the 404 page, but has an error there. Now, that means two things. For one, our route seems to be wrong. In admin.js in the routes folder, Slash products should be right. Yeah, but I didn't hook up my admin controller there. So we should add admin controller get products here in admin.js in the routes folder. And on the other hand, also our 404 page had an issue because there we see that the path is not defined. So what I'm missing here is that for my 404 controller, the error controller to be precise, I also need to add a path here because I try to extract that path in my navigation, and therefore I also should set a path here, and I can set it to /404. Doesn't really matter, it just needs to be there. So now reloading works because that's admin products, but now even an unknown route will work again. So this is looking good. Also note that the active item is displayed correctly in the navigation, and therefore we made a huge step forward. We added a bunch of views, the fitting routes and controller actions, even though they don't do that much yet. Now it's time to work a bit on the views and add a bit of logic already.